Most people think Bitcoin moves randomly, but when you zoom out to the weekly chart, like I have here, something interesting appears. Now, every Bitcoin cycle respects three things: the Fibonacci retracements that I drew here, the 200 EMA and the 200 SMA, 200 weekly EMA and the 200 weekly SMA, and major macro shocks. And when these three align, they create real bottom zones of the market. Now, just a disclaimer here. I'm not saying that Bitcoin will 100% go to 54K, 40K, or 30K. It could have been bottomed at 60K right here. And then we're gonna see all-time highs. But usually, history doesn't repeat itself. It usually rhymes. Now let's see the previous cycle breakdown, the 2019 to 2022. I drew a Fibonacci, as you can see here, from the 2019 cycle low to the 2021 cycle high. Okay? Now look where price actually bottomed. Bitcoin didn't randomly reverse. It bottomed exactly at the 0.786 Fibonacci level. This is important because historically Bitcoin tends to retrace between the 0.618 all the way to the 0.786. Now it either bounces here, 0.618, 0.65, because this is the golden ratio like it did here, or like it did here, it bounces here, like look at this. If I zoom out a bit, you can see how Bitcoin bounced on this golden ratio and went from 25K all the way to 31K in 1 week. It could be that strong. Now, the Fibonacci wasn't the only thing happening. Let me zoom out a bit. The Fibonacci actually wasn't the only confluence that I'm taking here. Moving averages confluence. Look at the weekly moving averages, the 200 SMA and the 200 EMA. Now the SMA is the blue one and the EMA is the purple one. Historically, like here, Bitcoin corrects roughly 30% to the 200 SMA. Now, 30%, which is this blue one, you can see 28%, 28 to 30%. I took it when Bitcoin actually rejected from the 200 SMA all the way to the bottom. It's around 30%. Now, if you also take the 200 EMA, which is the purple one, and see where it actually broke all the way to the bottom, it's around 40%. And if you measure the previous correction from the high all the way to the bottom, Bitcoin actually corrected 75%. You can see here, 75%. Once Bitcoin reclaimed the 200 EMA and the SMA, it actually was headed to all-time highs, which were at like around 74K. When price started trading above both averages, which historically signals that the bear market phase is over, that's exactly when Bitcoin began its move towards all-time highs. Like I said here, over here. Started trading above the moving averages, boom, went to all-time highs. Now the current cycle setup. So basically, let's apply the same model to this cycle. I drew a Fibonacci from the 2022 cycle low all the way to the 2025 cycle high. And look at the golden pocket. The 0.618, 0.65 ratio actually sits at 54.4K. This is where Bitcoin pounced in August 2024 and went to the all-time highs. There we go, here. So this zone is actually important. You can see how many times it bounced from this zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like multiple times. So this key level is important. Now the 40K confluence zone, which is this one. Now here where things gets interesting. If we measure corrections relative to the moving averages, again, the 200 SMA, which is this one, it's if we measure it like this one, which is about 30%, when it breaks the 200 SMA, look how much it retraces all the way to the 40K level. Let's take the 200 EMA, 200 weekly EMA. How much did it retrace in the past cycle, in the 2022 cycle? Around 40%. Now here, let's see if when it breaks 40%, it's around 40 to 41K. Another thing, 41K zone actually aligns with the 0.786 level, which is actually at 39K, but it's like this zone, which is important. There we go, aligns all together. Now the macro catalyst comparison. Now there's another interesting similarity. In the previous cycle, which is this one, the market actually collapsed right after the Russia-Ukraine war. It bounced a bit. Now it was going down. It bounced a bit during the Russia-Ukraine war and then bled towards its bottom. You can see exactly the same thing that's happening here. Not like perfect exactly, no, but it rhymes. Bitcoin is dropping. US-Iran war, there we go, it's starting to bounce. And then another thing I can realize here, that they both happened in the same months. This happened in Monday, 7 March of 2022, and this happened in Monday, 2nd March 2026. There we go. History usually rhymes. Now, what is the main thesis? So the key idea here is simple. Bitcoin doesn't bottom randomly. It bottoms where three forces aligns. As I said, the Fibonacci retracement levels, the long-term moving averages, and the macro catalysts. If history repeats even partially, the most important zones to watch are actually the 54K level, the 40K level, and the 30K level. Now we can see a bounce at the 54K level like it did over there and create a double bottom, let's say. But like this is only one confluence where it only bounced here, although this is a strong support. However, I can see that we can go down to the 40K level. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could bounce from here. Maybe 60K could have been the bottom and then just go to all-time highs from here. But I don't think that's probably gonna happen. Why? Because as I said, history usually rhymes. I think what's probably gonna happen is go to the 40K level, like what happened here when it crossed below the EMAs, and then just go to the 40K level, which also aligns with the 0.786 fib retracement, and then bottom there, and then bounce. Now another thing I need to watch out for is actually the RSI. Now over there, the RSI actually created a bullish divergence, okay? Here, it's quite different. Still didn't create that bullish divergence that we were looking at. Why? Because we're still here. Look at that. We are still here in the Russia-Ukraine war. It's not usually the same, but it rhymes. It's trying to cross its signal line, like here it's crossing. It crossed its signal line, rejected, and then went continuing to go down. It's happening right here. So this one, if it crossed its signal line, it's gonna pump a bit, maybe to 82K. It depends on the speed that it crosses its signal line, and it goes to 82K, rejects from there and then go down, and then create a bullish divergence. After I see that bullish divergence, I am 100% sure that Bitcoin is bottomed. If it created a bullish divergence with the confluence of the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement and the support at 40K, then I'm sure that Bitcoin has bottomed and we're gonna go to all-time highs. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments below and I will answer accordingly. Thank you.